And you guys have a camera so that somebody can record?
Yeah, it's recording.
You got it? Hold on, let me get myself together. So everybody else has refreshed the form in front of you? And so therefore,
Yeah,
the only thing on your computer right now is the new, fresh evaluation form? I'm saying that as though it's a question, but I'm really not asking.
It's already record. It's recording. It's recording.
Okay. Ready to go? Launch.
All right, so good afternoon, guys. We're team number 3, and today we'll be talking about shared value, and our company is Rockwell Land Incorporated. So the Filipino dream is a world where everyone has a decent place to live. The reality right now in the Philippines is a lot of the blue-collar workers currently live in an environment that looks like this. It's a bunch of shanty towns with 4 pieces of plywood and metal roofing on top. And this is currently what most of the people back home live in. So this is another picture, and when I show you these pictures, it's not just the poorest of the poor. These people are construction workers. They're the cashiers at the different malls. They're the security guards to protect us. This is a very sad reality, and as you can see in the background, that's where all the glitz and glamour is, where only a few can access. So just to give you a little bit of facts about the people back home, we have 103 million people, and we have 2 of the most densely populated cities in the world. The poverty rate right now is measured by a household income of being above $200 a month. That is why the rate is so low, where only 4 million are listed as being below the line, but trust me guys, it's a lot higher than that. The employment rate back home is 94.3%, and 78% of those people are the blue-collar workers. So like I said, these are the security guards, parking valets, car wash people, and the average rent they pay right now is around $40 to $50 a month.
So we chose Rockwell Land Corporation because it's the first Philippine Realty Development Corporation that was incorporated on 1979. And it is a premier property developer for residential and commercial project that actually caters the high-end and the upper middle market, that mainly in Metro Manila, which is the capital of the Philippines. And yeah, the company is engaged with high-rise condominiums, retails, and as well as office leasing. So for the competitors, there might be some other competitors, but Ayala Land, which is the biggest and the well-established property development, which the company does a CSV. And this is the only company that actually focus more on high-end to low-end market segmentation. And later on, Ching will further discuss about whether it is in the blue ocean or red ocean strategy.
Okay, for the scenario planning, we use Gini index and Maslow demand level as the 2 axes to measure the market. Guys, do you still remember economics? No. Gini index measures the wealth difference, and the Maslow demand level tells us about how well the customer are chasing for. When the Gini index and the Maslow demand level are both low, which is like North Korea, we use CSV strategy. We will cooperate with the government to provide the low cost and same standard cost for all customers. But when Gini index gets higher, it's a developing society with much poverty, which is the most possible situation and the main market we are focusing on. We will still use CSV strategy, but we're gonna provide cheap house for the poor people and giving chance for the employee to buy a house at discount. And when both Gini index and the Maslow demand level goes very high, we decided to not use any CSV because the cheap house is no longer accepted by most of the people. So we're gonna focus on the high-end market, which generates the most profit, and still we're gonna provide medium level house for low-end customers. Okay, so the last one is the Maslow demand level is very high, but the Gini index is very low. It's an ultimate prosperous community society without any poverty. So it's like everyone is rich, so we have no reason to provide any cheap house. We only sell fancy house to all the customers. And the plan will further discuss about the purchase factors.
As everyone knows, for the soil forces, it's a really a good tool for us to do industrial analysis. But in our case, because we are going to focus on low-end house, so low-end house and high-end house is like two industry and branch. Yeah, so for all the five forces is quite different. So we just focus on the difference by adapting CSV. The first thing we will focus on is buying power of suppliers. So even we do adapt CSV, we focus on low-end customer. So our supply doesn't change. Still government offered us the land, still we have the same people to build our house. But for the new entry, it changed. Because if you focus on the low-end house, usually the capital barrier of this industry is lower. So like even you have little bit money, you can build your own house to sell. And then it's about the library. As Dan mentioned before, in the low-end house market, we only have one library, which is Ayala. But for the high-end market, we have like more than 10 competitors, and all of them are giants already. Yeah, so we face more libraries in high-end market. Then it's about the substitute. So for high-end customer and low-end customer, they treat house in different way. For low-end customer, they treat house just as a house for living. But for high-end, they treat it as a house of living plus something like entertainment or like something else. So like for those kind of people, they may just like choose to buy a like smaller house, but like they save money for Lamborghini something else. So there's much more substitute outside of the industry. Then it's about the buying power by buyers. So in Philippines, there's like many poor people who is eager to buy this kind of house. So their buying power is much lower. Now let's welcome Ham.
Thank you, Pan. So next is the disruptive innovation. So we can also try to use disruptive innovation to tackle the problems. The main idea is to change the non-consumer to consumers. So would it be nice to live in somewhere like this? No?
Yeah.
Okay. But if you look at the lower right corner there, you will see what Kelvin has showed you before. So that is exactly what happened in certain amount of population in the Philippines. That is where they live. So the point is we want to try to gain of some of those market share. However, for the case of Rockwell land, they first started out as focusing on the mainstream and the high-end market. However, it's still possible for them that they can try to create their own subsidiary project that launch their own disruptive innovation to try to grab the low-end market. And they can use their bargaining power and know-how to create cheap yet good quality housing for them. So the result could be something like this. And so we believe that the low-cost housing will disrupt the market of the green home.
So is it a red ocean or a blue ocean? Our team come up with some agreement that we think there's somewhere in between. Maybe it's a purple ocean. It share the same characteristic of the red ocean and blue ocean. In existing red ocean, the most Philippine real estate companies, they try to outperform rivals to grab the share slice of the consumers on the high end. But on the other side, from the low-end consumers represented by low-income blue-collar workers like security guard, janitors, the demand is so high. Everyone wants affordable houses. That even though there are already options in the markets, affordable houses, but competition is still relatively small. So on the definition is still a red ocean because the market is untested and invented. But we could think of it as like a small little pond in the rainforest where there's are a lot of little fishes. They don't eat each other to survive. So Rockville land, they share the same economic pie with their competitors like Ayala. We believe in this case it's like a purple ocean, and Rockville land they could outperform, exceed by becoming the bigger or the biggest fish in the pond.
So one of the most common misconceptions about CSV and poor people in general is that these people do not have money to spend, but that notion is very, very wrong. They actually do have the money to spend, it's just that they need to maximize their potential. And we believe that if Rockwell Land chooses to not make the most out of every retail project they have, not make the most from every single piece of land that they buy. They could actually create a better world in the Philippines, for not only for their employees, but for everyone in general. Thank you.
Okay, let's, apart from they making a better world, why would they do that? I mean, they're losing a lot of own profit. So,
Okay,
they make
so-
high-end buildings.
All right, so one of the things is I actually worked with their competitors, Ayala, that we talked about, and they have done this model back home. So the way it works is that they offer very long mortgages and very low rents. And the reason they do this is simply because they are one of the biggest philanthropic families back home. So Rockwell Land is also owned by a family like that, and they do still make money from it, but it is a choice for them to say that, you know what, we're not gonna make millions and millions of dollars on these projects, but at the very least, they do offer these projects to their employees, and because of that, they do have more morale in the group, and they do have an easier commute for their employees. So you're right. Why would they do this? Well, simply put, it's just because they want to make the world a better place. The family that owns Rockwell Land is actually, they run a lot of the biggest donation centers back home. Whenever there's a crisis, they're the first to respond. So I think the model that Ayala is using could also be applied by Rockwell.
Thank you for the presentation. You mind going to the scenario planning? Okay, in the bottom of this column, prosperous communism society without poverty. What are you defining as CSP, and why do you think when people are prosperous, there's no need to create shared value in the society?
Okay, so this is like the ultimate form of our society, which everyone goes rich, and our technology, our production is very high. So everyone is owned by everyone. Everything is owned by everyone. So it's like there's no like problem for poor people, don't have place to live, don't have money to afford a house. That's the.
So are you defining creating shared value as accommodating the bottom of the pyramid? Is that the definition
It's
you're
not
using?
actually like that, because if you think about Gini index, the bigger Gini index is the bigger difference in wealth. But in this quadrant, there's no wage difference. So the idea itself is providing low-income people housing. When everyone have the same wealth, then that means we don't have a need to provide housing anymore, which is the scenario case.
I think one way to think about it is like if you guys watch Black Panther, how Wakanda's like, where basically their technology is so advanced that they don't have these problems. You know, recycling isn't a big deal, trash isn't a big deal, poverty isn't a big deal. So when you eliminate all of these things, then you take out the other end of the spectrum. So which is why CSV gets eliminated in the process, because everything is CSV. So
Yeah.
there can't be anything that's not CSV.
So fiction is the best example.
But would there
That's
be
right.
a problem with scarcity then, in this quadrant?
It's called what?
Scarcity.
Guys, this is a future that's like the Jetsons and like, you know, these shows. So
This is like more than 100 years later.
yeah, this isn't happening anytime soon. Don't worry about that. Right, Charles?
Guys, are you really assuming that North Korea has a very low Gini index? Like it's a very egalitarian society?
Well, funny fact is North Korea, that research might be wrong, but they're rated the happiest country in the world. The
Happiest?
happy index #1.
Happiness?
That's the point.
Now, in terms of
The government
repartition
survey?
of resources,
Yeah.
it's ranked as a word, like one of the
You
worst.
guys are losing the thread a little bit.
Yeah, so it's like very surprising.
I want to talk about, so you focused most of this
Good job.
presentation on lining up your expectation that low-end housing is the solution for Rockwell. And you posed it, Kevin, in the very end as saying, even though it's gonna be unprofitable, it's still a good idea. Porter's Creating Shared Value framework is designed to tell you where you could find profits. Are you saying in your solution, because you say you're embracing creating shared value, that the framework of creating shared value doesn't work?
I think I was a bit misquoted because I said they would not maximize profits, but it is still a profitable venture because, like I said, there are many ways to work around it with interest rates, with long-term mortgages, and sadly, yeah, people do get kicked out of these kinds of housing developments, but it is still a profitable business venture. So I don't think it's completely in the zone of charity and all of this, but it also provides intangible assets like I said, employee morale is higher.
Yeah.
Instead of spending 3 to 4 hours to commute going to work, your employees spend an hour. So there are a lot of other benefits aside from the monetary value alone.
Okay.
Well, we want to look at it this way. If you look at Ayala, the reason why they're having this business is Ayala, they at first have shopping malls, and a big portion of employees work in a mall as a security guard, as janitor, whatever that is. So providing this housing, mostly open to their internal employees, but also outside employees. That means they solve the housing problem for their own employees. That means they can continue to come to the work on time, work effectively, and save the cost on those. So in a way, it's actually kind of profits for themselves.
Thank you. Victoria, last question?
We talked a lot about sustainability, sustainability in the class. Have you guys thought about Philippines is an island nation, which has a very limited amount of lands where they can build houses, and it's not sustainable, profitable in a long term in any different cases, because sooner or later, you can't just build a house and then just expect people to move in. You have to build a society around it. So it will, one point, will turn unprofitable in all of the cases that you guys have shown. Have you guys thought about the future, not the fantasy land, but like 50 years down the road where there is not a lot of land, there's a lot of competition going on?
Like we said, the employment rate is actually 95%, so there is money going around in the economy back home. The only problem is right now, land is being extremely overvalued because the rich are fighting for bigger and bigger pieces of land. So I think the bigger problem is the fact that when a piece of land isn't deemed to be socially uplifting, where if you live here, therefore I am someone in the society, then it becomes trash. Then people don't care about it. And like you see, the pictures we showed a while ago, there are a lot of those pieces of land around the country, and those pieces of land can be developed. It is just within the choice of a company to actually work on it, to actually make a real difference. So is it sustainable 50, 60 years from now? Of course, because these people are actually working. It's just someone has to step in and create a better living space for them. And of course, they can make money from it. It's always going to be profitable if they choose to do so.
Thank you very much.